Namaste. Why cannabis and cannabis hemp should be legalized in India? Why ganja and cannabis hemp should be legalized here in India? This is a video part for the series Hope 2026 Can, which is a campaign which is supposed to be running throughout the entire 2026 until we liberate this plant here in India. This video is about priority number 7, which is to create future safe, eco-friendly and biodegradable technologies using the plant source, which is a renewable crop, which is cannabis hemp. In the previous videos, we spoke about the priority number 1 being, like to safeguard the planet. Priority number 2, which is to give better healthcare management for the entire citizens. The priority number 3 about creating excellent industrialization in this entire country, which is not going to be lethal and toxic towards the planet and also the health of the people. Priority number 4 spoke about the fundamental rights that needs to be protected. Priority number 5 spoke about creating an agroeconomy for the farmers, which is going to lift the overall GDP of this particular nation. Priority number 6, we spoke about why it is absolutely essential to uplift the human consciousness. And priority number 7, which is the final priority for why the Great Legalization Movement India is fighting for this petition for the last 11 years, for the last 6 years since in the High Court, and we want to create a breakthrough this year. So priority number 7 is about creating a safe future technologies because over the last 150 years of industrialization, we have poisoned the earth by providing a lot of resources towards the entire sustainability of the planet. But the overall industrialization and the approach that humanity has taken has collapsed the planetary resources. We have poisoned our air, we have poisoned our water sources, we have poisoned our ground, we have poisoned our earth, we have deforested a whole lot of lands across the planet. We have all of these things combined, put together, we have poisoned the human health as well. And when the humans get sick and diseased, we are not even having the right kind of medications available for them to heal and recover and get cured. So everything is collapsing, and this is the reason why it is absolutely essential to bring back the ganja plant and the cannabis hemp plant for the better sustenance and survivability of our species and also the entire planet. Now, cannabis hemp as a crop has thousands of applications. In 1930s itself, it was told that this plant can create more than 50,000 applications. In 1930s, it was told that this is almost like $1 billion crop. But today, in this present economy, this is a multi-trillion-dollar crop for across the world, and India can easily create and bag about $1 trillion worth of economy if it is done right, based on GLM's analysis, and if the government is willing to implement and roll out a policy which is going to create $1 trillion of agro economy by single plant source. Why do you think it can actually create $1 trillion economy? It's very simple. The plant is absolutely robust, and there are multiple uses within this plant. The roots are beneficial, the whole stalks are beneficial, the fibers around the stem, that is beneficial, the leaves are beneficial, the flowers are beneficial, and the seeds that comes within the flowers are beneficial. So every aspect of this plant is extremely beneficial, and everything has its own list of applications that this plant can actually create. Not to forget, the plant grows within 4 months. It can grow in various different soil settings. It can grow in various different water irrigated lands or rainfall dependent lands. So most of the farmers are going to be able to benefit from this particular thing. It is also going to create a very vast space for farmers from every single state to actually support this particular thing. Now, when it comes to the technologies and what are the kind of technologies we can create, technologies, plant-based technologies, what are the most important applications that we can create? GLM has categorized about 12 major industries in which this plant can have a very huge impact. The first and foremost being the fiber boards and the furnitures. Now, every fiber board is going to be produced by cutting down of trees, either planted for commercial or by cutting down the forest, converting all the wooden logs into smaller particles and then be pressed for fiber boards, which can be used as furnitures, like what we call as plyboard or plywood board of various different sizes, uh, which has resulted a huge impact on the di- extinction of forest covers on this particular planet. Now, fiber boards can be made using the stalk, and within the stalk there is a woody element called as the herds, and this is one of the primary ingredient for making the fiber boards, and the plant can produce more than 4 to 5 tons per acre worth of herds, and when we grow in millions of acres of land across the entire country, we will be able to sustain our needs for the requirement of fiber boards without destroying forests or existing trees. Now, you need to understand this alone as a technological innovation that can be very easy. It's just replacing the raw material from wood to the plant based. Now, the second application is the paper and cardboard. Again, for the paper and the cardboard, most of the trees are being cut either from the commercial plantations or from the forest covers, which is again coming back into making paper. The paper production itself requires a lot of chemicals for the cellulose to be broken down, and again it goes through more chemicals for bleaching the paper to make it white and all of these things. But when it comes to hemp herds, it's almost very easy without requirement of a lot of chemicals. It's very easy to break down the cellulose into making paper, uh, and this saves millions and millions of chemicals that are being consumed by the paper industry, by the cardboard industry, and also the recycling industry, which is creating recycled paper and cardboard in order to clean and make pulp again. So the plant will be able to take care of the fiber boards and the paper and the cardboard. So two applications done. The third one would be the energy sources. Now, when it comes to the energy sources of running the factories or industries, most of the factories or industries in India is using either the wood as a fire element to run the factory or the industry, or the coal which is being supplied. And again, you need to think about what the coal is. Coal is actually inside the earth, which is carbon accumulation from millions of years ago. Whatever the earth extracted carbon from the atmosphere, it is all gone under the ground, and this coal is being removed and being burned, and we are releasing fresh carbon into the atmosphere. So when it comes to hemp plant, we can take the entire plant or and feed it as a feedstock in order to burn and in order to create the energy from this particular thing. And again, as compared to coal, it's not going to emit any kind of harmful fumes or any other thing. It's going to be safe. The burning of the entire plant in the industries is going to ensure one thing, which is the coal is an old carbon that was sucked in by the atmosphere and being released into the atmosphere again. But when we use this particular plant, the plant is a living, breathing body where the carbon from the present day atmosphere is going to be extracted, stored within the stocks, and that is the one thing that is going to be burnt for energy sources. Now, this is a carbon neutral technology. So we are not adding any fresh carbon. We are extracting the carbon from there, and then we are re-releasing it into the atmosphere, and without any kind of other harmful smokes or other things that usually comes from with coal. And the fourth application would be the fuels. Like the whole world is being run by petrol or diesel, and nowadays it's all the electric machines that are taking over. Again, petrol and diesel or kerosene or jet fuel, all of these things, they're coming from the crude oil, which is again the same thing as coal, which is the million-year-old carbon atoms into the earth. We are extracting it, we are burning it, and then we are re-releasing it. Do you know that the one of the first cars on the planet, which was created by Henry Ford, it ran on hemp ethanol, and today people have successfully created hemp-based ethanol and also hemp biodiesel, which is a combination of ethanol and the seeds that comes from the cannabis hemp plant itself, which makes it a much more safer fuel. And again, when you think about millions and millions of acres of land being cultivated, we are going to get raw materials for all the various industries, and fuel as a source will also be taken care of. Now, you might say electricity and electric based engines, battery backed automobiles would be safe. But again, when you look at the lithium mining that is happening, these are all extremely dangerous to the planet, because the lithium mining itself is very difficult, and it is a very dangerous thing to the atmosphere. Um, and it's not really as safe in any way or form as compared to the hemp fuels that can be produced using cannabis hemp plant. The fifth application that is very, very important is the plastics. It's very easy to make bioplastics. We really can't believe that the world has gone into the craze of making petro plastic for the last 70, 80 years since its discovery. And since the World War II got completed, the industrialization has been set up in a way where crude oil is extracted and all the byproducts are coming out of it. And then the petrochemical is used to make the plastic. And the problem with plastic is it doesn't compost, it doesn't biodegrade. If you put it into the ground, it stays in the ground for up to 500 years. There is no breakdown. You have to recycle, and it's much easier and cheaper to get the raw materials for making virgin plastics as compared to recycling the plastics again. And where is all the plastics going? All the plastic is being consumed, and it usually always ends up in landfills or the oceans or the rivers or on ground. On ground pollution is a very big problem here in India. But somehow, if we can make bioplastics from cannabis hemp, it can all be collected, and it can be composted. It can be fed back into the earth as long as no chemical invasion is happening in that particular process. The sixth application would be the cannabis hemp textiles. We have hundreds of varieties through which we can make the textiles from. Like when you take natural, one of the oldest methods that we have used is cotton, linen, wool, and all of these things. But today, everything is becoming synthetic again. Even the clothes that men and women wear or kids wear, everything is becoming synthetic and plastic based textiles and fabrics and apparels and shoes and synthetic leather, all of these things. So everything that a human being can wear, from a t-shirt to a jacket to a pant to the socks to the shoes, everything can be produced out of cannabis hemp fibers. And cannabis hemp as a crop itself doesn't require any water. Intense water irrigation is not required, and it doesn't require any kind of chemicals to be used. So when the whole civilization is going to start shifting towards using a safer alternative like the ones that come from cannabis hemp, it is going to have a very serious levels of harm reduction on the planetary level. Now, the seventh application would be the construction bricks. Many people call it as hempcrete, like concrete. They call it hempcrete. It's very simple, which is to use the hemp. There are various different formulations, of course. You can either use hemp herds and lime and water, which is as simple as it is. Some people also mix it with a little bit of soil to make bricks that are so strong that almost becomes like rock. And as the building ages, it's going to become harder and harder and harder. Unlike the construction bricks today, which is usually made from red soil or the clay soil or the cement bricks, these are all extremely dangerous. It requires a lot of heat for these red bricks to be made. It requires a lot of water for the cement bricks to be cured. But when it comes to the hemp bricks, hemp construction bricks, it's very easy, very simple. Take the plant out, remove the herds, mix the herds with lime, and then you mold it into a particular shape or form, and it's good to go. It doesn't require curing. It doesn't require any kind of chemical treatment. And the building that you make out of cannabis hemp has lot more advantages as compared to the red bricks or the cement bricks that is being used in the construction industry. So these are all technologies for the future, where the planet has to be safe and the human health also has to be safe in a way. Now, when it comes to the application number 8, GLM has researched a lot about graphene as a technology. Now, if you know what graphene is strongest material discovered by mankind. It's a single layer of carbon. It used to be extremely difficult to make graphene. The guy who won the Nobel Prize, actually, there was a lot of carbon or ash or whatever it is that was there, and he used a sellotape to just place it and then strip it out, and he was able to produce a thin layer of carbon element, and that was proven to be one of the strongest materials because the carbon bonding and the carbon chain over there is simply unbreakable. Some people argue that it is scientifically validated, not just argued, that it is stronger than iron, and it has better conductivity when it comes to electricity as a material. Um, and also the graphene can be created can be used to create the future of mobile screens and the batteries, so you don't need to mine for lithium. You can simply use the hemp stalks to convert it to be graphene, and maybe in the future the strongest materials that can be made for excellent architecture and other things can come out of graphene, that can be very easily produced at a very low affordable cost using the hemp plant. That is the reason why, like, graphene is the future. The world knows that, like how plastics came at one point, how fuel came at one point, how aeroplanes came at one point, how AI is now coming over when it comes to the computers and technology. Graphene is the future for a whole lot of materials, and cannabis hemp is one of the best and easiest and cheapest ways to produce graphene. This is the ultimate form of technology that we will be seeing maybe 10, 15 years down the road, in order to make extremely strong materials, and also making batteries that are plant based. Now, the ninth application is the foods. The hemp seed, the cannabis hemp seed as we know it, is one of the most nutritious. It is one of the highest levels of protein, and it is very balanced with high protein and very less carbohydrates, and high in fat, which is filled with omega 3, omega 6, and omega 9. And this is perfect for the human body. It doesn't need to be cooked, it doesn't need to be fried, and it is ready to be consumed. So it saves a whole lot of energy waste that is happening in the world of cooking and kitchen. The application number 10 is about cosmetics. The hemp seed oil that comes out, it's excellent to make soaps or creams or moisturizers or body oils or shampoos or conditioners. All of these things, be it on a medicinal level or simple cosmetic level, it is safe, ready to use, and it doesn't require any chemical intervention. Our entire cosmetic industry is filled with chemicals. Go and start reading the ingredients, you will discover it yourself. All of those things are unsafe for the body. The hemp based cosmetics will be extremely safe. We need to look out for our loved ones, so in the future start choosing cannabis hemp based cosmetics. Now, the 11th application is the medicine. There is no way to talk about the depth of cannabis based medicines in such a short time. But to summarize, the flowers, what we know as ganja, is one of the most medicinal flower known to entire mankind. It can literally cure hundreds of diseases, control various symptoms that the body goes through, and that is the reason it's one of the most important and one of the greatest applications in this entire list of applications that me is talking about. Lastly, the 12th application, which is the relaxant and stimulant. Everyone gets stressed. Everyone has a good day or a bad day, or someone is on a spiritual path, or someone is on a someone wants to just enjoy life in a liberal way. The cannabis flowers is one of the best relaxant or stimulant, and there is absolutely nothing in the entire world which is as safe as cannabis. It is not lethal, it is not toxic to the body, and it makes the person and a human who consumes ganja to be a better human being. So this is the entire list of all the applications. And this is the reason priority number 7 is about creating a safe technology which is eco-friendly and biodegradable for a better future. Thank you for watching. Stay with me.